President Biden, on 800,000 coronavirus deaths, do you have a statement on your responsibility, and why haven't you asked China to do more to be transparent on the origins? Mr. President, how do you believe you can get...
Well, he kind of dissed it there, President Biden, walked away instead of answering. But, you know, it's a tough question and an important one. How's he going to hold China accountable on the origins of COVID, which is still going on? All right, or the COVID is still going on. In fact, 2021, unfortunately, more people died than they did in 2020. Joining us now on that and some other issues, my great friend, Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri. Thank you, Senator Blunt. You're terrific. I mean, look at, I just found this tape. That's why I thought I'd pitch it to you. I mean, Biden wouldn't even answer the issue. I mean, it seems to me, whether it's a lab leak or other reasons, it's a legitimate conversation to have, and I think American people and voters are pretty darn interested in that.
Well, I do too, and you know, from being on the Intelligence Committee, from watching this closely, from the healthcare perspective as well, I really think there's clearly a failure of China to report all they knew anywhere close to when they knew it. And I've always suspected that that lab in Wuhan is very much somehow connected to this. The circumstances are just add up to too much to not assume that there's more there than we've been told, and we should want to know. It's another reason to be concerned about any relationship with China if they're not willing to be forthcoming on a relationship that is truly a life and death matter. Why would we think they'd be forthcoming or trusted on other things as well? You know, the other thing I've seen too, Larry, and you mentioned that number that we all saw a month or so ago, where even a month ago more people had died in the year 2021 than died in the year 20. And you certainly wouldn't see that from the reporting. It's almost like in the last year of the Trump administration, anything involving COVID was all the government's fault. And this year, it's been all somebody else's fault. This group wouldn't take the vaccine. This group was concerned about the vaccine requirement at work. It's like there's a totally 180-degree difference in the way that COVID's been reported this year. But it's a problem. I think President Trump didn't get the credit for testing and for vaccines that he deserved. And frankly, I think more people would probably be more willing to participate in that system if there'd been some shared credit in the system as well. But it's clearly still a problem, and it really has affected the way, even the way people show up for work. I was just in a hearing with the Air Force, with the airline CEOs, and the question was, we got all the people we need, but when things aren't working exactly right, they don't want to show up for overtime and other things like they did before COVID. We've gone through a big social change that's really affecting our economy in a number of ways, and COVID's still with us, but we're gonna beat this. But it would help to beat it if we knew exactly how it started and knew what to watch for in the future.
Yeah, I mean, China won't come clean on anything. And in fact, there's a news story today, Senator, that the telephone company Huawei, the Chinese phone company Huawei, has in fact been a secret liaison with the Chinese Communist Party, that they've been feeding information to the Chinese. Now, you know, O'Brien and I and Mnuchin, we all campaigned hard on this to get China out of the U.S., and they're gone. And a lot of our allies keeping Huawei out, too. Right. But here's finally a report that that Huawei was in cahoots with the Chinese Communist Party the whole time. We had that right. China, of course, denied it every darn time. I mean, can I just ask you one other thing? Look, China, this business, you've got these big blue states with, now we have to all wear masks again, which people really, that is no way to help a business recovery. And I'm fearful, Senator Blunt, that these big blue states are going to start shutting down their economies again, because they don't want it anyway. And they want a bunch of government controls, like totalitarian control. Don't we learn anything from this? Don't we have some humility?
Well, I think what we learned was that this particular virus is so resilient and cycles in a way that when you think you've done all the right things and you're not having problems, then suddenly you start having problems, and people who are doing the opposite are in a different place than they were. But I would think that the last thing that the Biden administration would want to see is the economy slow down again. We've got enough problems with inflation. We've got enough problems with uncertainty about future regulation. We've got the kind of regulation going on right now that means, the people I talk to in Missouri are over and over again saying our home heating bill last month was twice as high as it was last year. And of course, every time you go to the gas pump or the grocery store, you see what's happening in the economy. They're going to have a lot of explaining to do about this economy, and I would think that they'd be trying hard to convince blue state economies or any state economies, don't repeat that process of shutting down again. It didn't produce the result you would think. And it really produced lots of problems for lots of people who suddenly find themselves out of work.
Senator Blunt, I've only got about 40 seconds, but we are hearing that the Democratic leadership is giving up on Build Back Better and is now going to focus on election reform by changing some filibuster rules. So on the one hand, I like that a lot, because the longer we pause on the reckless spending bill, the more likely it's going to die. But what can you tell us quickly on this election reform and changing the filibuster?
Well, on the first one, the longer the people have time to look and find out what's in there and where this really winds up once you take the tricks and the gimmicks out of the bill, the less likely they're going to want to see it pass. And so anything that puts off Build Back Better is a good thing. But the federal government taking over the state election systems is not a good thing. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. Democrats would like to run everything from Washington, and apparently including elections all over the country and jurisdictions all over the country. That'd be a mistake. I'm opposed to it, and I don't believe they can use that, but they're certainly trying to use it as another way to break the protection of minority rights in the Senate.
All right, Senator Roy Blunt, thank you, sir.
Good to be with you.
Happy holidays.